Thank you so much for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz.
And I'm social media entrepreneur, Breezy Gipson.
And we're glad that you're here with us. We've got tons of music industry news stories to share with you. And, of course, we'll break them down as necessary. And, before we even get into all of that, we got to send a super huge shout out to our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Salute!
All right, so without any further ado, I say we go ahead and dive into this. We're going to start with some beats by yours truly, of course, and then the music industry news right after that.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Hey, family, this is Breezy Gipson, social media influencer. If you're an aspiring artist, or if you're a seasoned professional music artist, and you have a music video that you want to share with a global television audience, your search is over. Whether it's jazz, rock, hip hop, Latino, gospel, pop music, country, house, techno, reggae, Hispanic, and other genres, this is the right spot. Whether you're located in the United States, Europe, Africa, South America, India, Mexico, Asia, Australia, Italy, or other countries, we got you covered. Contact me at getsparksnow@gmail.com. That's GETSPARKXNOW@gmail.com, or leave me a message at 678-632-2620. Let's get it together.
Hey, this is Achickwitbeatz. I am a multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit my website, achickwitbeatz.com, for resources for artists and instrumentals available in various genres for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwitbeatz.com, ACHICKWITBEATZ. Let's make something happen. All right, we're back with music industry news. The first three stories belong to Universal Music Group. I mean, they've been really busy. There's been a lot of stuff going on with them, but we got some of the highlights out of all that stuff that's been going on. So first off, Universal's Virgin Music Group has acquired Saban Music Latin, and so the deal includes Saban Music Latin's catalog and their future album releases by select artists from the label. Virgin Music Group operates a Latin division in the U.S. already, as well as the Andean region, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, Portugal, and Spain. So obviously they're on a mission, and the fact that they've already been in these places and then made this acquisition tells you that they're banking on this is where they're going to make a whole lot of money. So yeah, we can kind of dive into that a little bit later, but just kind of something to pay attention to, don't you think?
I think so. I mean, that's very noteworthy, starting the year out making this kind of thing happen. So yeah, it's very noteworthy. Very.
Yeah. All right. Another Universal story. They renewed their multi-year licensing deal with Tencent music platforms. So the top Chinese streaming platform will maintain their access to UMG's music catalog for QQ Music, Kugo Music, Kuo Music, and We Sing, which covers Dolby Atmos, high definition formats, all that good stuff. So by the end of September of last year, Tencent Music Entertainment had 103 million paying users for its online music services. That's a lot. And that's also something to be said about that too. So if you think about it, if they've got that kind of growth happening, then it's a good idea to make sure that your music is on those platforms. So with 103 million paying users, there's definitely some of them that need to hear your music. So make sure that when you're choosing your distributor, that you get to all those stores, all those online platform streaming services that you may not have ever heard of. Make sure that they're on that list. So, I mean, a lot of the major distributors already do it. So there's some that you can do that are cheap or free that don't distribute everywhere, which is fine. Do what you got to do, but definitely make it a goal to get your music everywhere you possibly can.
Yeah, and when you do your investigations on these companies, hear the names and such, don't take them lightly, because everybody could be just like you, on the grind trying to make some things happen. Now they've come up with 103 million paying users. So hey, I mean, again, just like you said, that's attention grabbing right there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, UMG made another acquisition. So they got the entire catalog of the UK-based South Asian music label called Oriental Star Agencies. So they're expanding their presence in South Asian music as well. So OSA was established in 1966 by Muhammad Ayub and his brothers after migrating from Pakistan to the UK's West Midlands in 1961. So they began by importing records from India and Pakistan and Birmingham. They were operating for around 50 years from its Birmingham base, and then they were acquired by High Tech Music Limited. And So what, this was 2017, and its catalog of 18,000 songs, concerts, and videos basically helped shape the UK Bhangra genre, and it fostered the careers of a lot of British and South African artists. So the fact that Universal Music has acquired them too also tells you they're banking on this being another booming industry. So, you know, I know the US has a tendency to only think about the US just because it's classified as the world's largest music market, which is still, pretty huge. But, it's time to stop ignoring these other areas. To my fellow US residents, make sure that once again, your music is where the people are, and you're checking out some of this other stuff. It could even be great for inspiration. So, yeah, look at that. A lot of these stories that we've been saying lately have been about expanding in Latin music and also in South Asia. So it's definitely a trend going on here. If you've been listening for a while, you know this, and so it's continuing even in 2024.
Mm, mm. That's the key word, continuing.
Yeah. So if we look at all those three stories together, there are a few things that you can kind of take away from it. One of them is how important strategic partnerships and expanding is. So, yeah, make sure that you're exploring opportunities for collaborations or partnerships with maybe even labels, distributors, or other artists in diverse regions. Again, think about making sure that you're on those platforms that will give you exposure in those markets, so that way you can make those kind of connections and expand your audience. Let's see. Another thing you could probably take from it is that, making sure that your catalog is pretty solid, because how many times a week do we have these stories about these catalog acquisitions? So, making sure that you're doing something that you can be proud of, something that you're actually pouring your heart into. That's what makes it last long. That's what makes it valuable, instead of just doing, fads or things that are kind of coming and going. If you have a catalog that's pretty strong with staying power, then hey, you could be on one of these sides of these types of deals too, don't you think?
I agree. I'm like all in. I totally agree.
Yeah. So, it's just one of those things. You hear the stories, you got to kind of read between the lines and say, all right, what does this mean for me? How can I make this work? And that's something that, as artists, I think we kind of do anyway, a little bit, but not necessarily so much with the business side of things. But we need to take the same way that we see the world and apply that to the business side of what we do as well.
Completely and in complete agreement with.
All right. Now there's a good chance you've probably heard by now, because it's been kind of buzzing, but SoundCloud is gearing up for a sale, and they want at least $1 billion. So Sky News reported on January 7th that two of SoundCloud shareholders, Rain Group and I believe it's Temasek Holdings, have begun interviewing investment banks for the possible sale. They're expected to be auctioned later this year, with the owners aiming for a sale price of over $1 billion. So, we shared, I believe it was either last week or the week before, that they were on the track to get their first ever EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, and all that stuff, profitable year. So they actually reached profitability before Spotify, and apparently they were working on that for a reason, because now they want their payday. So, it's interesting. One, it's positive because it's showing that, people are still willing to invest in music. The other side of this is that we don't know who's going to get it, and there's some chances that some things could kind of get shifted around. So if you're a SoundCloud user, just kind of something to be aware of and be prepared for. So one of the things you should definitely make sure is that you diversify where you are. So let's say, somebody purchases it and maybe they decide to increase the fee to use it, or maybe they take away some of the things that they give to the people who use the free tier. So, there's all types of things that could happen, but yeah, the main thing to learn from this story is, make sure that you're prepared just in case there's something unexpected that goes on when the sale occurs, if it does. And just make sure that not all your eggs are in one basket. What do you think?
Yeah, well, for the person that is walking around with blinders on, and they able to get their toe in the door at one opportunity and then they just settle with that, we'll see they've got a lot to learn because I mean, just in the news stories that we've given so far on music industry news this today, it's obvious. You know, you got to diversify. You've got to, because if you don't, especially the last story the news story that you just read. I mean, you've got to diversify, and that's the key to life in this business. Because if you don't, you know, you just risk so much of loss. So
Yeah.
you know, it's like snapping your finger. You gotta spread out. You gotta
Right.
spread it out.
Yeah. Yep. And the best way to do that is make sure that you're informed about music industry news. And
Yep.
so if you're here, you're already in the right place. But yeah, that's how it can help you spot trends and you can pay attention to what's happened before when these types of sales have been made. So yeah, it's very, very valuable.
Hmm.
All right. Now, this next story, I mean, it's not quote unquote music industry news, but it's just something worth sharing just because of the possibilities that it represents. But Purple Rain is being forecasted for Broadway in a stage adaptation by playwright Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, who wrote Appropriate. So he's got all these accolades, and apparently they're gonna shift this. They're gonna try to incorporate the music and lyrics from the movie and album into the stage adaptation. And of course, it's based on the iconic 1984 music-filled movie Purple Rain. And so, hey, we got to see what's going to happen with this. With the number, what's the word? It's basically impossible to number how many fans Prince has. I'd be curious to see, how many people come out to check this out. Hopefully it'll be done in a way that actually represents it the way that they're trying to. But one of the main reasons for sharing this is that, you can always consider doing something like this, maybe on like a smaller scale for yourself. You can consider adapting your music across different mediums. You could try to check out other opportunities to repurpose your music, whether it's through theatrical stuff, film, or other creative platforms. Just something you can do to probably try to expand your reach and your audience. Hey, why not collaborate with producers, directors, or creators from other industries to see how you guys can work together to try to present your music to a new audience or in a different way to your existing fans. So, yeah, it's just some tips, some things that you can look at and maybe explore. I mean, it's a new year. Why not try some new stuff, right?
That's right. New year, new stuff. New year, new action.
Yeah.
So, don't just fall back on what you've been doing in the past.
Right.
Yeah. Be adventurous.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, potentially there's lots of ways to present your music beyond the original way that you created it. So, I mean, music transcends boundaries. Why not see how far you can push yours?
Absolutely, positively.
All right. Warner Music Group CEO Robert, and I've never known how to say his name. I believe it's Kinkle, but he shared his plan for 2024 in a company memo, and he emphasized three main areas. One was enhancing music engagement. Two was boosting music's value. And three, evolving teamwork among employees. So, it's one of the big three labels, and he highlighted that the significant shift in the music industry over the past decade is kind of shown where things are going, and with their current position and strength, they know that they need to continue to prepare for the future, because he said that we're basically headed into the next 10. So there's more things coming, and we know this with all the different stories that we've shared with music tech and AI. Like, there's definitely a shift happening. So I think he's right about this being quote unquote the next 10. So, with them doing this, it's kind of showing you where you might want to be focusing your energy as well. But yeah, he said that their strategy involves making bold and intelligent choices regarding expertise, investment, and energy allocation. And I thought that was such a good way to put it, because especially as artists, you've only got so much energy and you got to choose where it's going to go. So, he's being really specific about being intentional about what they're striving for this year and the years ahead. And I think that that's a good thing for independent artists to try to model as well within their own respective careers. What do you think?
Well, you got to be ambidextrous if you're an independent artist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, don't keep all of, I mean, it's just almost redundant. Don't keep all of your stuff in one bucket. Okay, so but yeah, get it going, spread out, keep your eyes open, get your hands wet, and make some intelligent choices. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep.
And one of the main things that he stressed as well was the importance of balancing music and tech, global and local approaches, and data and instinct. And of course, talent and the people that you work with. So, takeaways. I guess make sure that you're embracing the changes that are coming, like even if you're not necessarily feeling them, because anytime I make any kind of post about AI, it seems like there's always somebody that's just like, oh, this is terrible. It's going to be the downfall of the industry. Yes, it does have that potential. But the fact of the matter is that it's happening. So, familiarize yourself with it, figure out ways to protect yourself from experiencing the downfalls, but look at ways that you can use it to benefit what you're doing. So I, for one, I'm not in support of AI replacing artists or replacing creativity, but there are other ways to use it to enhance what you're already doing. So it's not necessarily just for creation, but you can tweak stuff. You can use it to remove vocals or, just do different shifts of things like stripping out certain instruments and things like that. There's so many different ways that it can be used and that it's already been used that most of us didn't even realize until more of these stories started being covered. So definitely I advise every artist, whether you agree with it or not, research the ways that AI is being used in music, to familiarize yourself with them and come up with a plan to where you won't be negatively impacted by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to. Got
Mm-hmm.
to.
Mm-hmm.
No way you can do it without doing that. So yeah.
Yeah. And also, like how he was saying about balancing global and local strategies, that's something that we've been pushing here for quite a while now. So local is definitely important, but what's the phrase? Think global, act local. But there's a lot more than just your region, wherever you are. I mean, the world is a big place. And now that, the internet is the way that it is, we have so much access to it, but so many people don't really take advantage of it. So yeah, once again, even the CEO of Warner is saying it's important to do both. So we really hope that everyone listening kind of takes that to heart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. All right. And finally, this story definitely made me really happy to be able to report this, but female artists have been driving the music sales boom in the UK. So, man, yeah, female artists made an immense impact on the music scene in the past year by setting a new record by collectively occupying the top spot on the UK singles charts for a remarkable 31 weeks. So this achievement was the longest streak in the chart's history since its inception in 1952. But they said that the drive was fueled by the popularity of new tracks from Miley Cyrus, Dua Lipa, Ellie Goulding, Pink Panthers, and more. But I mean, that's just phenomenal that a woman held the top spot for 31 weeks in a row, even though, whoever that was just kept rotating in and out. But yeah, that's tremendous. And so, according to the British phonographic industry, the surge in streaming accounted for 88% of the UK music market, and it marked a 13% increase in 2023. So, I mean, that's just incredible. Some interesting stats to know. Again, it's kind of showing you how important female artists are to the industry. I mean, a lot of times we get kind of overlooked when it's time to give accolades, but I mean, you could see that there's obviously something going on here to where people want to hear it. They probably want more representation. Men and women listen to music. So it's always baffled me why the industry kind of, shoved women to the side when we've done so much. But hey, at least it looks like it's shifting. So, hey, I would say probably a takeaway from that. If you're an artist out there, you might want to start collaborating with some female artists, collaborate with some women to kind of help you get a boost because, hey, the culture's speaking. Apparently, that's what people want to hear. So, hint, hint. Yeah, reach out to some women artists, some women musicians, and yeah, bolster it as much as you can. There's a trend going on. There's been some DJs and some other predictions that were saying that women were going to have like an incredible rise in 2024, including DJs, like all that. So it looks like this may possibly be true. And so, why not give it a shot? See what happens.
Yeah, and not only the entertainers, the behind the scenes folks,
Mm-hmm.
the producers and such. There's just so many levels of folks in the music industry. So yeah, it's just all put it all in a bowl of gumbo and stir it on up and see what you can get out of there on a positive tip. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Don't overlook it, and don't overlook that taste either. So jump on in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but 31 weeks—that's more than half the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. I think that we've got a lot of stories that kind of give us a lot to chew on until the next week when we've got more stories. But yeah, hopefully you can take some of these things and this information and apply it to what you're doing. Or even if you know somebody that might be struggling, you can say, hey, you know what? I checked out Music Marvels and I learned this, that, and the other. Or you can hide your source if you want, but we hope that you'll tell other people. But yeah, if there's something else that you would like to know more about that you'd like for us to expound on, please make sure that you reach out to us. Let us know. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Am I missing anything?
Yeah. About got it.
Okay, yeah. Well, reach out to us, or even in the comments if you're checking this out on a podcast. Reach out. We'll be happy to do what we can to make sure that you get the information that you need. All right, so that does it for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. We're glad that you joined us again. A huge thank you to our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm looking forward to next week already. All right, so till next time, you know where to find us. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.